the OWGR to me is extinct. It's absolutely extinct. Those who have tried to improve on basically the same formula are a lot more in step with what the even the experts, so-called experts, and the casual viewer would think is a fairly accurate type ranking. You guys, to me, have the most unbiased ranking of them all, and it's my favorite. The PGA Championship has always boasted the best field of all the majors. Now, it was the Players Championship that had the best field in golf, and that was unequivocal forever
Right.
until the last couple of years, when there are guys who I thought had retired were getting in, and guys who were on medical extensions are getting into the damn Players. Guys I didn't know were still playing golf were playing, and I saw them on TV. The PGA Championship still has now it has the best field in the entire world, and I think they proved it here. And I think they proved it by not relying on the OWGR, though they still invited guys based on their current top 100 OWGR guys like Lucas Herbert and Puig as well. I think I think you're not going to be able to rely on the argument that we have the strongest field in the world when you invite the OWGR number 644 out of nowhere. He's not he's not the 644th greatest golfer in the world. My point is, I just don't know when the other majors are going to catch on, because I honestly think that the USGA and the RNA need the PGA Tour to prevent the absolute shit show that's going to happen when they roll back the ball. If the PGA Tour players revolt, which they've given every indication they're going to, then basically there's going to be 3 golf tournaments played around the globe each and every year where they use a soft golf ball, and the rest are going to be playing the modern golf ball. That's going to be the Masters, the US Open, and the Open Championship. So I think they're going to be a little slower to actually come to life with the irrelevancy of the OWGR, because the PGA Tour needs that bargaining chip in order to, number one, keep leverage over the LIV players and over their players from leaving, but number two, to be able to guarantee their disgruntled broadcast partners in the United States, who are overpaying for a product that's being underdelivered, but technically they fall in line with the fine print on the contract from a strength of field standpoint. Do you think that the invitation of the players from PGA to, including Gooch, especially Gooch, will expedite that whole conversation?
I mean, I hope it does, because again, we're trying to, I mean, I don't know if I'm a casual fan. I'm probably way more than a casual fan. I tune into everything, right?
Way
But
more,
yeah, I'm
actually,
way
a
more
shit
than a
ton more.
casual fan. But I always try and think of it from the casual fan's point of view, or the marginal fan's point of view, right? Because if the casual or marginal fan who's trying to figure out, do I want to watch this on Saturday or Sunday, or do I not, right? What's going to drive that is if it's compelling, if it's the best players in there, if it's created the environment that goes. And to me, that's what's going to drive the ratings, right? I mean, I think if anything, again, I tweeted about this yesterday. If anything, from just a pure game theory standpoint, if you strip out all the politics, all the everything, what the PGA Championship did from a pure game theory standpoint is genius, because now they've riled up all the LIV fans, being like, yes, we got the people in, and I know you want more, but at least they did more than I think people expected, right? And so now
Yeah.
there's
For sure, yeah.
intrigue and there's anticipation of how are they going to do. And even I always call them PGA Tour only fans, right? The ones who are just the diehard PGA Tour fans, they're going to be tuning in because they don't want LIV players to play well, right? Just because of their loyalties. And so from a pure game theory standpoint, it was a genius move, right? Now, the Masters is harder because they just have such a small field, right? About 90 players. And when you actually look at all the exemptions, there's very few spots that they can just hand out. And I think when they get up to 95, 96 players, it's really hard to actually finish in the whole day because of the light. So I think they will be, just from a pure constraint standpoint, a difficult tournament to hand out a lot of invites. But the 2 opens are wide open, right? I mean, in theory, that would be the next move. And if you see the PGA gain a lot of traction because of this, I mean, again, just from a game theory standpoint, you're running a business. You got to make the smart business moves. You'd think.
It would be really interesting to see what happens after the PGA Championship, and if that would change the US Open or the Open Championship in the next few months. I don't know if it will this year, but maybe next year.
It's a long play, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it was call it what you want, an olive branch, a game theory move. I thought it was a genius move on there. And
I think it's
yeah,
brilliant too.
regardless of what side of the fence you fall on, I was, and from just a pure analytical ranking standpoint, I was happy to see that they were inviting players that we felt were deserving, right?
Let me ask you a question about we had him on our podcast, Louis Oosthuizen. We're not sitting here saying he should be at the Masters. I'm kind of curious from your standpoint in terms of numbers and your ratings. If where do you see Louis? Because he won twice in the offseason. He's played fantastic this season. Give me your opinion about that.
I mean, outside the fact that he's probably got one of the purest swings in golf, right?
Yeah, right.
It's I mean, I love watching Louis. We have him at number 46. We have him as a top 50 player in the world based on his play. Again, not just within LIV, but outside LIV. Again, he's one of those players that's played over 600 different competitors over the last 18 months, well above the PGA Tour average. He gets around, he plays, and I keep coming back to that because the more competitors you play, think of it like a satellite system, right? The more competitors you play, the more points of reference you have on where you should be ranked, and it just makes it more accurate. And I mean, it sounds like I can't confirm it, but it sounds like on Twitter they were saying that he was extended an invite to the PGA, but has a conflict, right? So that was nice to see that because he was more than deserving to get one for next week. And maybe the PGA should have handed out invites a month ago and not the week before, right? If there was one criticism you could point out, it was probably that, right?
There were two theories. I didn't believe a lot of people tweeting that he turned down an invite, but then I saw it from Doug Ferguson, one of 3 or 4 last remaining true journalists, even though he does occasionally throw a little opinion in, it's usually in good spirit. Doug's a true journalist in golf. I put Rex Hoggard and Todd Lewis and maybe 1 or 2 others in there, Corrigan from the UK. So Doug, if Doug said it, it's true. And then the part I love, the LIV fan accounts. They're not LIV bots. None of them are paid by LIV. They just happen to actually enjoy the product the way we do. They said that they had heard. I love this speculation because it's 100% speculation that if he took the exemption, Burmester wouldn't have gotten one. So he turned it down so that Dean could play. Yeah, that actually warms my heart. And you know what? Of all the people, I wouldn't put that past him one bit.
Yeah.
Now the question I have, you guys haven't gotten into the betting space yet, so I'm going to put you in the handicapping here because we have a viewer poll question for Sue Ann and I tonight. Who would you pick over the 2 players to win the PGA, Jon Rahm or Brooks Koepka?
So
see, you've done work on this.
No, we haven't done work on this. We are not in the betting space. What I was going to say is that we've shown that our rankings are highly predictive. That's just by the mere fact that, and that's one of the things that we say is that, accurate rankings by definition should be predictive, right? Brooks Koepka is the hardest golfer to rank because he openly says he greatly cares about the majors and he uses all the other tournaments to prepare for them, right? So him finishing almost last in Miami hurts his ranking, but that doesn't really matter to him, right? And so I always say that Koepka is a top 5 major favorite at any major he goes to, regardless of where he is in the rankings, right? And Rahm today, we have him at 5th, right, in our rankings. So flip a coin flip, but if I'm going to flip a coin flip, and I'm not going to say this just because I'm on your show, he is the defending champion and he's won 3 PGAs, is that right? It's 2 US Opens and 3 PGAs. I mean, there's obviously something with the style of a PGA Championship that he loves, and it's hard to bet against him, especially coming off of what he did last week.
No, you know what's crazy? He won back-to-back US Opens, back-to-back PGAs. And those courses traditionally are really tough and demanding golf courses. And he seems to just rise to the occasion when that's the case. When the golf courses are harder, he just seemed to just bring his A game.
Yeah. I was just saying, great form last week, right? I mean, that was clear to everyone, right? So you see what he did, and he's the defending champ, and so he'd be hard to bet against.
If he wins next week, he will have successfully defended 3 times. All 6 major championships will have come back-to-back years in the same
Interesting.
major, which
Yeah.
is now that's a record I don't think even Tiger has
Yeah.
or Jack. So that's
I don't
pretty
think
damn
so.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiger had a back-to-back
awesome.
Masters, right? But that was that.
He's had back-to-back, he's had a back-to-back a lot of things,
Yeah.
including majors. But yes,
Yeah.
he's had a back-to-back
Yeah.
surgeries.
Now,
all
Brooks
back
is,
to-
I love getting into debates. Well, I used to love it. Now I just say, look, you know, Brooks is an anomaly just in life and in golf. And anytime he shows it at a tournament that he really, really cares about, he's got to be a top 5, probably top 3 favorite. Like, that's just the way it is. I don't care where he's ranked on any ranking system.
He's not only the toughest guy to rank, he's also one of the toughest guys to interview. Sue-Ann did 2 incredible interviews with him last week, and Dom did a nice one as well on Sunday. So, yeah, he's an enigma in all sorts of ways, but I think he's smarter than most, put it that way. As are you, Jeff. Listen, we can't thank you enough for your time. We really, really appreciate it. And I just got I don't know one thing. You, your brother, and your dad started this together as a hobby, a labor of love, a passion.
Yep.
How'd you become the front man? Did they vote you front man?
As I joke, I don't have any marketable skills, so I'm the guy who became the front man, right? I mean, we've got the website guy, we've got the data guy, we've got the relationship guy, and so last year I was probably on 10 or 12 podcasts last year as we started picking up steam, and I think it was like, hey Jeff, you go do the first one, and then like, hey, good job, go do the next one, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. So I can talk to everything, I can go in depth and go down any rabbit hole you want, but I'm not the guy who's behind the screen computing it, right?
Yeah.
You're a
Gotcha.
diplomat.
I'm the
You're a
diplomat trying to work the relationships on all sides. But seriously, but as we've said, I mean, we're pro golf is what we are, right? I mean, whatever the golf landscape is, we're going to rank it, right? And I've always joked, I said, well, what if another country came in and decided to fund another tour, and there were 50 guys that went and did that? We would rank them too, right? Like our job is to rank golfers and hopefully spit out really interesting talking points and data that the golf community can talk about and debate. And it's been fun. It's been a wild ride. It's been a fun ride, and it's been awesome. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Jerry and I are huge fans, and I think you do such an amazing job. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing all those insights. And hopefully our viewers and listeners will, gain a little something or two from this conversation. So thank you so much